Plates ready? This is Food School, Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Want to feel amazing, love the way you look in the mirror, and perform your absolute best in the gym, at work, and in life? You're definitely in the right place. Food. It's you. It builds every single cell of you. And if there is one thing every human being must master, it's food. Because at the very least, eating, you do it every day, several times a day, every single day. You might as well get good at it. I'm your host, Angela Sharina from Create Yourself That Today, your personal nutritionist and plate watcher, your diet guide and explorer, your fat loss coach and food inspector. And just someone with a lot of passion and obsession and curiosity for healthy food, healthy diets, nutrition, optimized human performance, everything and absolutely anything you put in your grocery shopping cart, your fridge, on your plate, and in your mouth. It's my business. Food School, on a mission to help you eat better daily.
It's the last time I talk about food. It's the last time I talk about food.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Happy Monday, everyone! It's a new week, new beginning, new day, everything new, and it's the time to start anything you want to do in this life. Because at the end of the day, guys, it's your life and you have only one, and you gotta live it as you want it without putting off things that you want to do in life, because nobody is guaranteed that later where you're gonna have time for everything you actually want to do in life. So do it now, do it today, start turning your life into the one that you want to live. And that's the most important message for today and for every day. And now back to food business. This week, we will concentrate and focus on fat-soluble vitamins and why low-fat diet doesn't really work for our physiology. So not only there is not such a thing in a scientific community as a debate about low-fat or higher fat diet, it's actually physiologically not possible for a human being to thrive on a low-fat diet unless you are heavily investing into supplements. But the thing is that never was a case that was possible many years ago. Even if we take like 50 years ago, there was not really well-developed supplement industry, and we wouldn't be able to survive on a low-fat diet. And actually 50 years ago, when they started this, well, not 50, but somewhere probably like 30 years ago, when they started this low-fat nonsense that was not actually, again, physiologically possible. So the point of this talk is that you gotta know your fat-soluble vitamins because they're vital for your health. And if you don't get them, like vitamins A, D, vitamin E, vitamin K, if you don't get them from foods, then your health gonna suffer. And this week we're gonna learn how to get them from your food, but also we will learn how to get the most nutrients from your foods, any sorts of foods, because there are so many ways that you can actually lose a lot of nutrition just because you don't know better and because you haven't really thought about those things. And then also we're gonna do a book research that we haven't done for a while, and the book is gonna be Food of Tomorrow, or what kind of food we're gonna eat in the world where there are more of us and there is less food supply because we gradually exhaust the resources and we cannot afford to waste something that can be food, that can provide nutrition. So we're going to talk about this book, Food of Tomorrow, and also we're going to have an amazing interviewer with a researcher of nutrition science who talks about malnutrition that happens in the modern world, not among people who starve, but actually people who who are like you and me, but who don't necessarily think about nutrition that much, and they think that they can get everything they need from the store just buying products, and it's not the case, and how most of the people these days are deficient in key for health, in key nutrients that are super essential for our health. And that's why we see a lot of degenerative diseases. It's not that we eat a bunch of shit and junk, but we also just don't eat what our body actually needs. And that's why also our body is not able to fight off, diseases, infections, and not able to deal with all the increased stress and toxicity of our world. We will talk about all of this, and in general, I'm thinking about moving our podcast into more of a documentary style, when I'm going to be interviewing people from different industries, from interesting food companies from around the globe, especially now that I'm going to be traveling more and I'm moving to Asia. And so I want to know what people eat right now compared to what they ate 50 years ago, and not in one part of the world but in many parts of the world. What people's daily shopping looks like, grocery shopping, or how their fridge looks like now and how it might have looked many years ago when there was not such a huge abundance of products and supplements and all of that stuff. So that's what I'm really curious about. I'm also curious about street food and why people eat, certain food or cook certain foods and sell it on the streets, and why, and what people cook at home, and how do they go about breakfast, lunch, and dinner these days in different parts of the world. So I'm thinking about different ways how I can make it happen, but it's gonna change this summer, and food school is gonna be different, but it's gonna be more interesting. It's gonna still deliver practical value, nutrition and food value that you can use every single day to improve your health and your eating habits. So stay with us. And also, guys, when you get a chance, when you get a minute, please go to iTunes and rate our podcast and share it with people, so we get more people who can improve their eating habits by simply listening to important messages about food and nutrition, and learning how to eat better every single day, how to eat simply, how to make better food choices in any life situation. So spread the health around, nutrition and healthy eating wisdom. Rate the podcast on any platform where you listen to this podcast. Write any feedback that you feel like writing, and share. That's the most important thing. And thank you in advance for doing that, for taking your time to doing that, and of course for listening and changing your eating habits, also being a great example to the people around you. And now back to the practicality of today's lesson, and we will talk about how in practice to increase the nutrition value of the foods that you might be buying, and also how not to lose nutrients in your foods doing grocery shopping or cooking or storing your food in ways that might not be really optimal to get the most nutrition from the foods you buy per every dollar that you spend on food. So number one, guys, on quality on foods, I want you to realize that just like if a plant grows in a poor soil and it doesn't bring the fruits, the nutrition that the plant that grows in a rich soil, there is a difference in nutrition when you buy those foods. The same happens to animal foods. If one animal is fed a really nutritious diet and they move around and create all these beneficial compounds in their bodies that beneficial to them while they're alive and beneficial to us when they're killed for our food. So the better quality of your animal foods, of your plant foods, organic for plant foods and local and seasonal, and then pasture raised and maybe, fat specific foods for nutrition when it comes to animal foods. So the better the quality of the food you buy, initially, like again, organic, pastured, wild, the more nutrients you get per calorie. And sometimes it's like many times, like 10 times or 100 times. If you compare, for example, I don't know, wild elk meat to conventionally grown cow's meat, like the nutrition is like day and night, what is beneficial to you and what is bad for you. And that's why all these debates whether meat is good for you or whether it's bad for you, well, it depends. The same goes for plants. If you buy something wild and foraged or organically grown with the best practices in a rich soil, that it's one thing. And especially when it's local, when it's seasonal, and when you buy something that was grown and picked many weeks ago somewhere across way, like many miles from you, the nutrition profile is completely different. So now when you buy, make sure that you buy the best quality that you can afford, and that will save you the money on medical bills, guys. But more importantly, you're gonna have more energy, more vitality. You're not gonna get sick as often. Like sometimes, like it's funny, when I get tired, I wish I could get sick, but it just doesn't happen anymore. Like not that I'm frustrated about that. I actually love feeling a lot of energy, but understand that the more you invest in a smart way in your nutrition, getting the best quality foods, the less negative health consequences you're gonna have, and the more energy you're gonna have for life and for whatever you want to do, and just you're gonna feel better. So trust me on that, and get the best quality foods possible. And if you have any doubts what it means in practicality for you, shoot me an email, send me a DM, anything. Get in touch and start investing your money into the best quality of foods. Number 2, on cooking, guys. Different foods cooked in different ways might either improve nutrition and digestibility of foods, or they can decrease the nutrition and digestibility of foods. As an example, if you take cabbage, right, and you ferment it and you make sauerkraut, then actually nutrition profile of that food of sauerkraut is going to be increased. Whereas if you, I don't know, take broccoli and other sort of cabbage that can also be made into some sort of sauerkraut. So if you take that broccoli and deep fry it in some vegetable oil, not only you get almost zero nutrition from that broccoli, but you're also going to get a lot of toxic elements and carcinogens in your food. So compared to, again, if you could make sauerkraut out of that broccoli. So the same kind of foods, but cooked and preserved in a different way, and you get completely different nutrition. So whenever you cook, make sure that you know how to cook that food for proper absorption of nutrients, and make sure that you know how to increase the nutrition in that food, getting more nutrition for your money, versus or in comparison to a cooking method that actually gonna decrease the nutrition method or the nutrition content of that food. So as an example, if you take raw carrots and, again, I don't know, you deep fry it with something like carrot sticks, deep fried again in some vegetable oils, then you're going to destroy almost all nutrition and get a lot of toxins into that food. But if you cook it on moderate heat, maybe even steam it, and then you add some sort of oil like olive oil or maybe good quality ghee or some other animal fat or coconut oil, you're gonna increase the amount of beta carotene that your body gonna absorb, and also you're gonna get more nutrition from that carrot of all sorts, and actually you're gonna get more nutrition that you can get from even raw carrot. So different foods would have different rules for cooking them. Like, for example, garlic. If you want to get maximum health benefits from your garlic, then you gotta, before eating or cooking it, you gotta crush it. There are special instruments or tools to crush it, but you can also just use something to, just squeeze it. So you need to crush it and leave it reacting with oxygen for 10 minutes, and that's how you get the most benefits. It's going to help your digestive system and your immune system to work better. And so the takeaway from this point is learn how to cook your food to increase the nutrition, not to decrease it. Number 3, on storing your food. Guys, storing can decrease nutrition profile of your food like a lot, or it can also save it, or it can also increase it. So an example, if you take broccoli or cauliflower and you pick it and you put it like on a shelf in a supermarket, that food gonna lose more and more nutrients the longer it stays there. And a lot of times when you buy it fresh, quote unquote, it's not really fresh and it doesn't have much nutrition. But if that same broccoli or cauliflower is picked on the peak of its ripeness and it's frozen right away with modern freezing techniques, and then you buy those vegetables frozen and then you cook them, you're actually going to get more nutrition from that same broccoli or cauliflower. The same goes for example, strawberries. You might think that fresh strawberries bought at the store are better for you than frozen ones. But in most cases, those strawberries that are fresh, again, quote unquote, they have been picked not when they were ripe, because otherwise they would not travel well. They would not reach the ripeness and also maximum nutrition that they could have if they were picked on the peak of their ripeness. And at the store, they will also sit there and they would also lose that little nutrition that they had in the first place, and they wouldn't have flavor or aroma. So it's a waste of your money really to buy that strawberries. But frozen ones are usually picked on the peak of their ripeness and they're frozen, and you get maximum nutrition when you just unfreeze them and you eat them right away. So people think that frozen vegetables, frozen berries, or frozen food are not as good as fresh, quote unquote, that you find on the shelf of your supermarket. You know, like fresh when it's right from the farm, that's one thing. But when you buy it in a supermarket, it has really little to do with fresh stuff. And so knowing that, invest your money into more of frozen fruits and vegetables. Also go to farmers market, or in places where you actually buy actually fresh food. Another point is, understand that some fruits and vegetables, they can ripen and increase their nutrition while they're at the store. Like for example, avocados or bananas or apples, because they release this gas that helps the plant, the fruit, to ripen fully and to turn, for example, sugars into, not sugars, but more of like different compounds into sugars, digestible nutrition. And so some fruits do never ripen when they're off the vine and at a store. So for example, take strawberries again, right? They do not ripen after they were picked. So they just get worse when it comes to flavor and nutrition. So whenever you buy something, learn like how it's best for you to buy it, how it's best stored, how it's best cooked for maximum nutrition. And I even wrote a blog post on different foods and how to buy them, how to store them, maximizing your nutrition, and it was published on Food Matters. So I'm gonna link this article for you. So learn some basics about buying and storing your food to maximize nutrition. But in general, whenever you buy something new, or you're not really sure how to store, to buy, to cook this food, then look it up, Google it. There is more than plenty information available. The next point, number 4, on processed foods and fortification in foods. We have a lot of food products these days on the shelves of the supermarkets, but most of them like the vast majority, is processed food. And compared to whole foods, processed food, besides calories and sugars and all the flavors and aromas added to that, processed foods have less nutrition. And not only that, but when they fortify or add different vitamins and minerals to those foods, most of them are poorly absorbed and definitely not as well absorbed, sometimes 10 times, 100 times less absorbed as those nutrients in whole foods. And when you buy a lot of processed foods, you in general eat a less nutrition, less absorbable and recognizable by your body nutrition. So no matter how good on paper processed food product sounds, it's always inferior to most whole foods. So make sure that most of your foods are whole and fresh and local and seasonal and of the best quality. Do your best, guys, because processed foods, like our food industry created a lot of products, but it's still kind of stupid. The whole industry, it does not create products even close by nutritional profile or the quality as what nature and millions of years, billions of years of evolution created. So invest your money into whole foods always and most of the time. Treat food products, processed food products, as a treat, as an experiment, as once in a blue moon kind of food, or I don't know, a fun thing. Do not look at processed food as your main source of nutrition. Never. And number 5, and the last point, is on variety. A lot of people believe that when they start eating mostly whole foods, that they're gonna eat less variety compared to when they eat a lot of food products. But that is a false belief. When you eat a lot of processed food products, it seems like a lot of variety because processed foods have different packaging and different marketing slogans and different names, and it seems like they're also different, in shapes, in color, and you get a lot of variety. But when it comes to nutrition, they're actually much less variety. Most of processed foods made of the same exact ingredients. Most of the food producers try to use the cheapest stuff, and you end up eating just a few ingredients, eating all these different food packaged products. You get much less nutrition compared to when you buy whole foods. You change different foods, you eat different vegetables, different animal foods, different animal parts from different regions of the world, sometimes local, sometimes exotic, seasonal. You try, different vegetable, different fruit, different bean, different animal part, different animals, different eggs. Even if we take such a simple thing as an egg, you could be eating eggs from different chickens, and they would have different nutritional profile when you buy from local farms, depending on the feed of the animals and where that animal was raised. Then you also get duck eggs. Then you also get quail eggs. Those are the most popular ones, easily found in any supermarket. But then, of course, depending on where you are in the world, you can get different kinds of eggs from different birds, and not only birds, maybe crocodile eggs. So what I'm trying to say is, when you eat variety of whole foods, you literally are eating more variety. When you eat different food products, most of them are made from the same ingredients, and you end up eating the same stuff over and over and over again. And so you get not less variety, not more variety, but less variety from processed foods. And to conclude this episode, guys, you want to make sure that you invest your money into as much nutrition as possible. And the way to do that is, number 1, buying the best quality of foods that you can possibly afford, but also be smart about that. Maybe sign up with some sort of delivery package with local farms, or figure out where you can buy local and better quality foods at best prices. So I'm not saying you should, be buying some exotic foods all the time. Just be smart about that and invest into the best quality foods in a smart way. Number 2, on cooking, make sure that you know how to cook and how to cook your foods to increase nutritional profile of this food. Number 3, on storing food, make sure that you know how to buy and how to store your foods to increase nutritional profile of your foods. Number 4, whole foods always have more nutrition compared to processed foods, even fortified processed foods. Understand that molecular structure in added vitamins and minerals and other nutrients is not the same as in whole foods, and your body does not work that well with anything created artificially as it does with whole foods. So always invest the most of your money in whole foods. And number 5, add variety to your diet. Eat different vegetables, eat different animals, different plants, foods from different regions of the world, and don't think that processed foods or variety of processed food products is variety of your nutrition, your nutrients. Most of the processed foods are made from the same exact ingredients around the world. And don't forget to check out the link in the show notes of my article on maximizing nutrition in your foods that is basically focused on how to buy, store, and cook certain familiar foods that are used around the world in different cuisines. Things like, for example, onions or tomatoes or your green vegetables or some of your fruits. So check out that and also check out Food School, guys. Yeah, it's an amazing course that I'm putting together that's going to teach you everything you want to know about eating, about healthy eating, and it's going to be updated. It's like it's a product of my love for nutrition and healthy eating that I'm always investing my time and energy in. So check this out, share that, and take the course. It's not, some cheap course, but that's because I grade all the assignments myself, and also the school gonna have more courses from all the best voices in nutrition and food industry, and also the quality of material is really amazing. And again, your assignments and going to be graded by me personally or other teachers later, and then also you get to ask any questions and add clarity to your understanding of healthy eating and diffuse any sorts of doubts that you might have about healthy eating, what is not clear, what you don't understand. You will get to learn and understand, and most importantly, practice all of that. And thank you guys for listening. Invest your money into the most nutrition possibly. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I love you all, guys. I appreciate your time and attention. Share whatever information you'll find useful. Practice it. Until next time, as usual, eat better daily.